Hey everyone, Chloe here, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, ladies and lurkers, welcome. So, in today's video, I wanted to talk about the scandal of Andrew Gillum, and I wanted to share some insight on this very complicated and messy and disappointing and tragic, and to a certain degree, very humiliating situation for a wife whose hand has been forced to publicly accept that her husband's bedroom preferences, to put it kindly, are sitting on a spectrum. Now, for those of you who don't know the backstory, Miami born native Andrew Gillum, 41, who I think is very handsome, is a Democratic politician who lost the 2018 Florida governor's race by a half a percentage point to Republican Ron DeSantis. And Andrew Gillum made waves and headlines that were honestly dimmed by the pandemic that we are currently in the midst of after he was found drunk in a hotel room with another man or an alleged escort and allegedly overdosed on alcohol and crystal methamphetamine. And the specific details on what actually happened on that night are still very murky, and no one exactly knows the definitive story or the sordid details. But unfortunately, more than several snapshots of proof of Andrew being inebriated were taken, which ultimately led to the rollout sit down interview with the beautiful Tamron Hall, all so that Andrew could reveal his deeply personal truth that although he is a married father of three, that he is also a man who prefers both men and women. And it appears that his wife of 11 years, R.Jai, is standing by her husband's side in support of him in a united front as her husband faces an open battle of alcohol addiction and being at a political and personal low point and the rock bottom of his life. And of course, if you are a woman or if you have ever been in a serious relationship or a wife or a life partner, you have cried an ocean full of tears. And of course, you are gutted by this public revelation. And of course, you are broken and hurt and sad and embarrassed and humiliated. And of course, you are feeling dejected and devalued. And of course, R.Jai is feeling these feelings because she is a wife who has invested in her family and her life partner. And whether she knew or not, and the jury is still out on that one, does not really even matter at this point because she is still a human being. Now, I wrote about this situation over at Hypergamous Hive, but to share my thoughts in this video, these kinds of power arrangements and scandals in politics are nothing new, and they are not uncommon when it comes to couples who are driven by ambition, drive, power plays, and recognition. And it is not very uncommon for women to wholesale ignore red flags, or for women who desperately want to have the picture perfect life to stick their heads in the sand, or for women who will stop at nothing when it comes to building with a driven, ambitious, and good looking man, or for women who are openly aware of their partner's bedroom preferences, but who will play the power game and who will play along to accomplish their personal goals, which will often involve the PR image of a well educated and pedigreed and well groomed and put together and standardized upper class American family who was held in high esteem and who was put on a pedestal by the smoke and mirrors of political society by upholding very traditional family values. And I believe that the Gillums had their eyes on the accomplishment prize and that they achieved their dreams of ambition and power together to accomplish what most people want: a stable and secure and wholesome family life that isn't rife with dysfunction, particularly when you are a black family. But unfortunately, there were cracks at the foundation of this marriage because of her husband's personal decision to suppress his natural desires. And when a man or a woman makes the decision to suppress their desires, they essentially turn themselves into cardboard cutouts and they force themselves to live a fraudulent life, which leads to a lifetime of cover ups and lies over lies and unauthentic living, and unintentionally and sometimes intentionally hurting the people that you love and that love you with disappointment when we cannot live up to the tiresome and exhausting and draining standards of the fake image and the shaky house of cards foundation that a person has used to prop themselves up. Now, it has always been my opinion that marriages are deeply, deeply personal and sacred. So ultimately, it will be up to the Gillums to decide on how to move forward in the midst of the dysfunction that needed to be exposed and unraveled so that Andrew could have the opportunity to face himself in the mirror with honesty, and so that Andrew could stop swimming in a river named denial, and so that Andrew can stand 10 toes down in who he truly is. Because living a fake life and a suppressed life is very, very painful, and it ultimately does nothing but backfire, as the truth of who a person is can never ever be fully buried, because the truth will always demand respect. So that is all that I have to say on this for now. Whether R.Jai knew about her husband's inclinations and proclivities, or whether or not she made an agreement with her husband before they were married, as it stands, is based purely on speculation. But as she sat by her husband's side in that interview with Tamron Hall, Andrew's wife R.Jai stated that love and sexuality exist on a spectrum, and that all she cares about is what's between herself and her husband, and the agreement that they make to be in a relationship with each other. So, in translation, R.Jai is still plotting and planning on how to keep the entire foundation of their power marriage. And strategic wise, R.Jai for now is playing the role of the good wife instead of abandoning her husband or punishing him or clowning him with ridicule. She is standing by her man's side because PR wise and politically and image wise, that is the right thing to do. So, ladies and lurkers, to get this conversation started, is Andrew using being bi as a cop out? And is his confession being used as a convenient excuse for being deceitful? And are power marriages worth maintaining when a couple is clearly driven by power, ambition, and success? And would your husband having desires for the same gender be a deal breaker for your marriage? And what do you consider to be the stronger offense? A husband who has humiliated you with his cheating, or a husband who is in denial about who he truly wants and desires? So leave your triggered thoughts and comments below, and stay tuned for more womanhood conversations to come. And I will catch up with you ladies and lurkers in the next one.